It was May 24th, the morning of May 24th, and I came downstairs from our two-story house, and as I hit the bottom landing of the stairs, I started coughing, I coughed into my hand, and when I looked at my hand, I had blood on my hand, and I thought, okay, this isn't good. And as I made my way over to the bathroom, it felt like I had run a marathon. And I was completely winded. When I got to the bathroom, I started coughing again and I had more blood. And then I came out of the bathroom and I called for Christina. She came out of the kitchen and
I prayed all the way to the hospital. And the doctor that was in the emerge took me aside by the hall and he's like, we're not quite sure what's happening with your husband, Mrs. Harris, but we want to take him up to the cath lab.
I arrived in emergency and then we went up to the lab. My top left valve had broken and I was actually filling my lungs up with blood and I was drowning in my own blood.
And that he had no blood or oxygen to the brain. And that's when everything went totally chaotic. Utter panic, like, what am I gonna do? If he doesn't survive the surgery and dies, like, what am I gonna, I'm not ready for this. Like, how am I gonna handle this? Okay, stop it. No, you're not gonna speak anything but life and you're gonna trust the Lord with this. Get a grip, Christina. This is not about you. Pull it together, pray.
What ended up happening is that when they laid me down, I flatlined, I passed away. And so during this period of time, I actually was in the presence of the Lord. It was amazing. It's nothing like we have here. I can't even describe the color spectrum or how to even describe the colors except that they were incredibly vivid. And it's almost like the colors here are muted. I could say in all sincerity that everything in the spirit realm is far more real and tangible than our earthly realm that we walk in. And that's hard to conceive, I understand that, but it is. I was held by the Lord during this period of time. And one of the first things I said to him is I said, what am I doing here? And he smiled and he says, you're going back.
Well, they didn't tell me that he had passed away on the operating table in the OR. They just said the trauma he had gone through, his recovery was going to be very challenging. And because he had been without blood and oxygen in the cath lab for so long, they were expecting neurological damage. Michaela had Paige. She was 3 months old. And she'd bring Paige up every day. And the head nurse, Teresa, said to me, he's a papa. And I was like, yes, he loves the girls. And she goes, well, put Paige on his chest. You can put Paige on him. Sometimes, it helps if there's an emotional connection there beforehand. She was laying on his stomach in the hospital bed and I just pulled his hand and put it on her. And I said to Teresa, look, and he had tears coming out both eyes down his cheeks. His eyes kind of opened and he lifted his hand maybe an inch off the bed because it had those paws on it. And he pointed and he whispered, just barely, my wife. And then he dropped his hand and he was gone again. And that's when I knew he was going to make it.
Coming out of surgery, it was fairly intense because of the drugs that they had me on at the time. And one of the biggest thing when my full consciousness came back, I felt like my spirit and my soul had been stuffed back into my body, and that my body was not big enough for my spirit and my soul to fit. And I said to Christine, I said, this is really uncomfortable. Well, I wasn't feeling any pain, but except for this feeling stuffed, which was really uncomfortable. And I looked at Christine, I said, I don't think they have anything for this.
God held me, Christina. God literally pulled me in and had his arms around me and held me close through the whole time. And he said, and when he put me back, I knew I'd be okay and I would have no mental damage or ruined in any way, because he took everything out of my physical shell and held it close until it was all over and done. In his follow-up appointments, Dr. Hong has said, we asked him, how do you explain this? And he goes, I can't. The only way to describe and explain you, Gerald, is it's a medical miracle because you shouldn't even be able to walk and talk right now. And he had zero neurological damage.
It's so easy to walk our daily walk here and to not really understand the relevance of heaven. It says in God's word, heaven is more prevalent than our walk here. That's true, based on my experience. And it is much better over there than it is here. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. Create love memories. Love memories are the best thing. Create as many love memories that are found in love as you can, because you get to keep those, you get to experience them, you get to remember them. And on the other side, it becomes precious.
Prayer really works, because when he woke up the first time, he said he heard hundreds of people praying. He could hear them behind him and around him. He couldn't see or understand totally where it was coming from, but he knew it was prayer, and he knew people were praying specifically for him, and it made a difference.
Yeah, it did.